National Parks and Wildlife have produced a couple of sets of amazing resources to support understanding about our wonderful marine parks. These resources are mapped to the Year 5 and 6 curriculum and another set to the Year 7 to 10 curriculum. One way that I describe this is it's a cup of coffee piece. If you can find time and space and headspace to make yourself a cup of coffee and enjoy a cup of coffee, you can learn what you need to know to begin to implement these resources in your classroom. What I love about these is they make it easy for me to understand what are the curriculum links, where I can find quality information and resources to support my teaching and student learning, but then also how students can then be supported to put their learning into action. What first caught me about these resources was the fact that they actually use a design thinking process. We call this 6Ds. It's something that's used widely in engineering. It's also used frequently, and much more frequently now, in the sciences and geography, etc. But it's applicable across a range of areas, right up to stage 2 scientific studies, for example. So it's a very versatile tool. It's a bit of like a Swiss Army knife. The essential questions as outlined in the resources are a wonderful starting point for this as a project-based learning. The Year 5 and 6 essential question, I actually call it question suggestion, is about asking students, what can you do to monitor, survey, track and protect marine plants and animals in South Australian waters? There are layers and layers and layers, and so much to explore. We need to understand why it is that it's important to protect them, and then understand how we can be a part of monitoring, sort of seeing changes and knowing whether we have dealing with healthy systems or declining systems, or whether systems are coming back in a growth phase. Some of the responses have been a student drew a yellow submarine, right, on the Great Southern Reef, and asked the student about that, how does this work? What does it need to be able to do? What's it looking for? And through that process, this student was able to actually do a pretty cool submarine with cameras and video recording and all sorts of things to be able to actually observe that marine environment and provide meaningful information. Other students I've had just wow, literally wanting to and kind of producing designs for remote underwater vehicles, Octonauts style. The Year 7 to 10 question asks, what are the best ways that we can ensure that our use of marine parks has a positive effect on the environment, the economy, and local communities? We're really talking here about what we call like a triple bottom line sustainability. So it's people, planet, and profit. It's a really helpful way for students to look at the environment through 3 different lenses. In the Year 7 to 10 resource, page 37, we have the student project files. I use these extensively. I print these out so at the beginning of a learning unit, the students can actually see and engage with the structure of the learning journey. We can share common language around what we're doing and how we're doing it, and then also helps to form ways that we can check in as to how we're progressing and where we need help. Using the National Parks and Wildlife resources, I'm able to get high quality information as well as a robust process by which we can actually ask really good quality questions, and with the great questions then comes the engagement, and once we've got that engagement, that's when I find it helpful to introduce the tools themselves, so the design thinking process, and then do really targeted research. When we talk to students and they say to students, how did that go? Students relate, it was so good to be able to choose a topic of interest, research it myself, understand what that process looks like, get feedback along the way, and then actually share, what I've learned. So please give it a go. You won't be alone, you'll be part of an ever-growing community. And we'd love to hear about successes, challenges, enablers, questions, anything to do with this. We're in a process of constant evolution. We're always learning ourselves, and even these resources are undergoing continuing development. So please let us know what's going to be helpful for you moving forward.